well. I thought Tevin Brewer was really good, Day Grant. And then Trey Williams' stat sheet doesn't look very good, but he did an unbelievable job on Oduro, which allowed us not to have to double team him, which allowed us to stay at home on the three-point shooters. So fire away.
Keith, now that you've done it, your thoughts on 500 wins?
Say that again?
Now that you've done it, what are your thoughts on 500 wins?
You know what? I think it'll mean a little bit more to me once I'm done. I just want to win as many games as we can, and get these guys to get what they deserve. Really, they put a lot of time into it. There is some things that went through my head, so I purposely wore this, because without him and Little Drew really, and Sheon Cotton and Romeo Travis and Willie McGee and all those kids that played for me at St. V, I wouldn't have been a college coach again. So, I'm going to pay homage to him. And then it's great to have Little Drew here. And then all those guys that have coached with me all these years, Terry Wygand, Rick McFadden, Charles and Carl Thomas. So, to put up with me all those years, it's a rough deal. So that's kind of what went through my head. But really, I try to live in the moment. And then, when I'm all done, I'll think about it a little bit more.
Looking at these two past games, has this been the best 80 minutes of defense that you guys have had this year?
So if you look at the numbers, we've improved defensively as we've gone. And we've made a few subtle changes. We moved Trey Williams back to guarding the bigger, stronger guys and played Reese a little bit more on the less strong guys. And Trey Williams is a good shot blocker around the rim, but he hadn't been blocking shots because it's the first time he was guarding perimeter guys. So we made some changes there. And then we've been hammering them home just on being better defensively. And I feel like we've done a much better job. And then we made some changes in our ball screen coverage, but mostly just our guys, their willingness to want to play it. We've made some big improvement. We're still not where we want to be, but we're fourth or fifth in the league now in conference games, so that means we've made improvement. I didn't even think offensively we were great tonight. We missed a lot of open ones that we're capable of making, but we're sharing the ball good. We're making the next pass. And I think another subtle thing is McGriff helps us because he can really pass. So now you put him in and he's making that next pass, and it's a big deal.
Keith, why did you become a coach? What was your motivation?
It's a funny question, Jerry, because my mom, was an intellect. She's a psychologist. She wrote a lot of papers on date rape and gender equity and all kinds of things. And, she married my dad, who was a player, right? And she used to always say, well, I don't know what basketball got either one of you. So what happened really is I was going to grad school at Akron and was getting my MBA, and my high school coach became the coach, and he asked me if I wanted to be the grad assistant. And I figured, hell, I was going to grad school anyway, I might as well. And I always liked basketball better than baseball. I was just better in baseball. So I did it, and then the next thing I know, I had a master's in business, and Tiffin was a business school, so they hired me because I could teach business classes. So I don't think they hired me because I was a great coach or anything. I was only 25 years old. So then I never really got out of it.
When did you realize it was going to be your life's work?
Pretty quick. I liked it. I liked the competition, the competitiveness of it. And then I thought it would never be my life's work when, after Central Michigan, I thought I'd never coach again. So it's kind of funny how life takes a full revolution. You have your debacle at Central Michigan, and then you get to coach LeBron. I mean, you can't get much of a bigger dichotomy than that. Just tells you how life works sometimes.
Have you checked your phone yet?
Now my phone's upstairs. I never bring my phone down. I'm old school.
You got to be blowing up with some text messages by now, right?
I'm assuming I have a few friends. I wouldn't say a million, but I got a couple. It's like people ask me about LeBron breaking the record last night and me getting 500 tonight. Like, that's a joke. Like, those aren't even comparable. That guy's a special human being. So for me, it's nice, but now we're 16-8. Let's see where we can go from here. That's kind of how I view the thing. I think we can go pretty good though.
Sorry, I wanted to ask you one thing about last night, what that was like to watch and what was going through your mind.
All right, you want the truth? So Little Drew was out there. I call him Little Drew. He's a grown man, but that's what I call him because Big Drew's his dad. So he went. So I knew that he was going to get it last night because Braun wouldn't have asked him and those guys from Akron to come if he wasn't going to get it last night. And quite honestly, I get up at 5 in the morning. So I wasn't watching the game because I knew he was going to get it anyway, but my wife woke me up and told me he broke the record. So my wife watched the game and I didn't. So, but I knew, I was proud of him. And the thing about him is I'm proud about what he's done on the court, but I'm even prouder of what kind of man he is. He's a great human being.
Were there players from St. V or from your Akron days here tonight?
I don't think so. There's one. This guy right here.
Pull up a chair next to you. Sorry.
Yeah, that'd be great. So, Little Drew, a lot of people thought that Braun made the decision to go to St. V, but really Little Drew made the decision. That shows how much clout he had over the whole group. And so that kind of changed my whole career, really. And then, St. V gave me the opportunity to coach as well before these guys got here, which, my own high school didn't give me the opportunity. So, just funny how it works.
Coach, how has the experience coaching LeBron changed you when it comes to scouting talent and coaching talent, knowing that you're not going to have guys as good as him, but it may determine, it's mainly just how you develop guys that aren't as good as him, but still keep it in perspective?
So the hardest thing when you coach LeBron is he was so coachable and he was such a sponge that it's hard to coach other people that won't listen. When the greatest player in the world will listen to you, but some other guys don't, it's a little bit hard to be patient. And then there's never going to be another guy like him. There may be guys that are great players, but there's never going to be one that's cloned just like him. He's good at everything. So when you coach guys like LeBron, you coach them differently than you coach average players. What you try to do is free up his brain and don't get him thinking about little stupid stuff like which foot he's pivoting on. You just get him to play hard, and you teach him as much as you could teach him. And that was the fun part about coaching these guys is they were the smartest. Like I coached mostly college kids. They were the smartest. They were like above college players IQ-wise when you taught them things. And LeBron included, obviously. LeBron's a genius. He's a basketball genius.
You saw the pressure on him when he was in high school. How is it he was been able to get through all that, live up to all those expectations?
Little Drew will probably be able to answer that a little bit better, but the one thing I will tell you is I felt like the only time he really struggled with it was the first year in Miami. Because it was the first time in his life that people really didn't like him, because he left Cleveland. And I thought he struggled that first year in Miami, but he went back to basics and just the love of the game. I think that's why he's such a great player over a 20-year period is he loves what he does. He loves the game. He's an unbelievable teammate. He plays the right way. If you don't love it, you can't play 20 years. So I don't know if I answered that well, but that's kind of how I see it. Drew, you want to kind of hit that? Want to ask it again?
Yeah.
So a pressure question, correct?
Yeah.
I think like the pressure of basketball was never what he thought of. He never thought that was pressure, right? For him, pressure was how he grew up. That's what was nerve-wracking for him. If his mom was gonna come home that night or where he was gonna lay his head. So things like that was a whole different type of pressure. When it came to the basketball, it was free for him. You know, it was a place where he could free himself of any worries, anything that had been going on in his day, and just have fun. And he always kept it as such. And then once he got good at the sport, his hard work, he always understood if he put the work in that he'd be okay. So I think that's how he handled the pressure or didn't feel it at times.
Can you take us through your day a little bit yesterday?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to hear this.
First of all, where were you in the building? Like, where were you in the building when he hit the shot?
I was in my seat. I was, I think, right off center court, about 8 rows up. So the action was kind of towards the other end, but I had a great view of it. You know, the day was special. Honestly, it was. You know, I talked with Coach, and I'm glad he said it's okay for me to go, because you know, I wanted to be there, but I wanted to be with our guys as well. I don't want to miss anything, right? But the moment was, it was huge. So I took a flight early in the morning, got there around 5 o'clock. I had a hotel room that I barely used. Got to the game with about 20 minutes before game time. Got to say what's up to him during warm-ups. So that was cool, just to, you know, connect. I think, you know, for us, that's like big, right? Because I think all of us were at ease. I was probably just as nervous as he was about the record, and just like seeing each other amongst our friends and connecting that way. It felt like, whew, like we're back, you know, doing the same thing we did in high school. And then after the game, went to just be with friends and family. You know, I sat in just like this, sat in the press conference, wanted to hear what he had to say, wanted to just soak up the energy from him, like that. I wanted to hear how he felt in that moment, you know, because for him, it's always the next thing, you know, winning the championship. All right, how do I do it again? And I think this moment kind of slowed him down a little bit. It's one of the first times I really seen him like absorb everything in. So it was awesome to see that.
Drew, you have a unique perspective of seeing him as a man more than just a player. What stands out to you about LeBron the man?
His heart. You know, it's for me. It's unbelievable to see him, and not only him, but the rest of my friends mature and grow in different ways. You know, I see him as a father, you know, as a husband. So those things are cool. Like to see the grown-up version just in that manner. But I think one of the coolest things is, like I said, his heart, his willingness to give his time, his effort, his money back to his community. I don't know if any of you have ever been around the Akron area, but what he's doing there is something special. He's building a community within a city, housing, school, medical, and job source. It's unbelievable. And you know, I don't know what. It's almost going to be separate from Akron pretty soon. Like he's going to create his own city, but he just continues to move. And you know, those kids that he has in this program are a reflection of him. That's who he was, and that's why he puts his heart into it.
Keith talked a little bit about the family aspect earlier, but can you both maybe touch on just the family and this, not just the two moments themselves, but just coming together as a family to share in success?
So Drew hit on it. Like, this guy, he's just got a knack with his heart. Like, he never forgets people that have helped him. And I think he gets it from his mother. His mother, you know, she's got a reputation, but she's an unbelievable woman. She's really just like him. Like, she really appreciates people that have helped, and she did an unbelievable job of getting him around the right people when she couldn't take care of him necessarily all by herself. When her mother passed, because she was very young when she had LeBron, but I think he's so much like her that Drew hit it on the head. Like, he's exactly how he was when he was 13 years old, really. He's just a more grown-up version. But he's always been the same. He's been a great teammate. He always was fun to be around, very bright, caring. Like, he'd come to my son's Little League baseball games. Like, this was after he was drafted. Like, who does that? He'd do his homework even though, he really didn't have to do his homework. It's just the way he does things.
For me, and us as friends, and even me and Coach's relationship, it's always been about trust and developing a bond. And it happened over time. Like, if you ask Coach Dambrot, I didn't say a word when I first used to be around him. I don't even know if he knew I talked outside of just, on the court, but off the court, I said absolutely nothing. But our relationship just continued to grow, and it's an appreciation for it, I think, from both parties, that, giving your 100% all to your relationships. That's as simple as I can put it. We just appreciate each other's time, and it means something.
Keith, this is year 25 for you. How have you changed since year one? And the second part is, what does it mean to you? Everybody on your staff here played for you at one time. What does that mean to you?
So, what we tell recruits is either those guys are really stupid or I'm not such a bad guy, right? It means a lot. I think there's very few programs in the country that can say what we can say. I've known Drew since he was 12 years old. I've known Terry Wygant for 38 years or 39 years. I've known Charles for, 36 or something like that. So, it means a lot. It's always good to be around your friends, but your friends can also tell you that your breath stink. That's a good thing about it. Like, they can tell you the truth, and we can yell and scream. Me and Drew, like, we were laughing because we're probably two of the most stubborn human beings of all time. But we can get on each other, and then when it's over, it's over. And I think not many people can do that. You need years and years of building that relationship to, like I'm nuts. Like, even tonight, like, I'm so paranoid about giving up leads that I'm always late putting in the subs, and these guys are always getting on me. And I told Drew, I said, "Can you just let me be me?" And they all think I'm nuts, but that's just me, So I'm always a little bit wary of that, but that's what makes our program a little unique, I think.
How have you changed in 25 years?
How have I changed? I think I've calmed down. I still hold people to a really high standard, but when I was young, like, I was relentless, like, hard, tough. I think even when I coached him in high school, like, I treated these guys like they were seniors in college because I thought they could be that good. And I probably treated Bron like he was a 4-year NBA guy. I was ruthless, relentless, because I didn't want him to flush it down the toilet. It really was out of love, but it probably didn't appear that way at that time. So, the good thing about me is I know my weaknesses. And a lot of times those weaknesses are also your strengths. So, I would say my patience level is probably my biggest weakness. But it's also a strength because it holds people to a high standard. Would you say I've changed a little?
No, he's changed some, a little, right? A little. When I say a little, I really mean a little. No, honestly, what I appreciate in seeing Coach Dambrot at this stage is his passion is still the same, right? I didn't know you at year one, but I knew you when you coached me in high school, and working with him now on the staff. Like, passion is still there, and it just drives everything. And I don't know if that's going to change at all. So and it's a good thing.
Is that it?
Thanks for coming.